All right, talk to me about the quarter here. In the quarter, even though you beat expectations, you talked about a challenging geopolitical environment. What's the challenge and what has changed from a quarter ago? A quarter ago, you guys said there was strong demand for protein.
No, the demand for protein is still strong. And we show this in our quarter. I think the challenging factor is more on the beef segment in U.S., given the size of the herd. But our geographic diversification and our protein diversification, that makes us continue to deliver results like this quarter that was above the consensus expectations.
All right, so you're mentioning the cattle herd here in the U.S. It's been a historically low cattle herd. We're looking at the cattle prices as well. Year to date, they're up over 20%. At the same time, you are facing some pressure from tariffs. So talk to me about the rising price of cattle. Live cattle, by the way, is kind of a proxy for beef prices here in the U.S. And then the tariffs that impact at least part of your business.
Yeah, let's begin with the tariffs. First of all, more than 50% of our sales are in U.S., where we are mostly a local business. From U.S., we export only 15% of our production. In our global footprint, it's our main advantage of JBS, right? We have production facility in 17 countries. So in Brazil, Australia, Mexico, Canada, Europe. So we can always rearrange trade flows to minimize the impact. So the impact of the tariffs, considering the JBS as a whole, will not be relevant. Now, the cattle price in U.S., as you mentioned, of course, is pressuring the margins of this business unit, which is 1/3 of our business. But on the other hand, is a tailwind for chicken and pork. Grain prices always are in good levels. So chicken, pork, and also our Brazilian and Australian business are offsetting this challenging environment on the beef U.S.
All right. You have a number of really notable customers, at least here in the U.S., that a lot of our audience would know. Like if you really like chicken sandwiches, you probably supplied some of that chicken. If you like to buy, beef in bulk at a supermarket or somewhere else, you probably supplied it. So I want to talk to you about some of those customers. Again, I know we can't name them. When you come back, we got to actually try. Oh, here they go. Here go some of the brands. But we can't say where you sell them. When we're talking about beef, poultry, chicken, when it comes on the consumer level, what are you seeing there? Are people still, buying the same way they were buying before? Are they looking for lower price points? Kind of give us a sense of what's going on with the consumer.
Okay. There always downtrend when the beef prices goes up. So people eat. So chicken, for example, chicken sales last year was record. But even for beef, the demand is very strong. So demand for protein has been very resilient and very strong again since COVID. Maybe for health issues, people are taking care more of their health. So what probably we're seeing is that protein is getting a high share on the consumer's wallet.
So let's say a restaurant or a big supermarket chain or a big box store, do they want to buy lower quality and still buy the same volume? Or, I mean, is any of that changing? Basically, because we often talk about the consumer being under some pressure here. So again, you had good results, but is the quality changing? Are people going down, I guess, the ladder when it comes to quality?
No, again, it's amazing how people continue to demand for good products. Again, is still very strong. Beef, for example, despite of the higher prices, people are continuing to buy beef, buying prime cuts. And I think for me, the explanation is that we're getting a higher share on the consumer wallet.
All right. One other question I want to ask you about is the One Big Beautiful Bill. That's what we call it here. Basically, the president's spending and tax bill, and then also the possibility of rate cuts. What would that mean for your business and for your customers?
Well, depends on what we'll see in this front. But we always welcome if we have tax reliefs or anything like that. Probably the customer will have the advantage of managing to have more flexibility in the prices.